Hello and welcome back to another exciting episode of Can It Take a K26, the show where I take a variety of Nerf blasters and see if they can be upgraded using a K26 spring. I am your host, Captain Xavier. This episode we will be deviating slightly from our usual theme in that we are not going to be covering any Nerf blasters. This episode will be focusing entirely on the Busbee Mega line. Our first contestant is the Busbee Baron. The Busbee Baron was released in 2015 when Busbee released their XL series, which is what they call the Mega series. They went with this bright blue instead of Nerf's bright red, but they are completely compatible with all of Nerf's darts and magazines, which was uncommonly well thought out for them. The Baron has two barrels, primes on the top, and has Busbee's equivalent of a smart AR system. We'll see it here in a minute, but as I understand, it's not truly a smart AR like Nerf's. Presumably Nerf has the patent on that, and so Busbee has gone with a different style. I believe this is direct plunger, but let's find out for sure, and let's find out if it can take a K26. So, as I suspected, it is direct plunger, and it is not a smart AR. It is instead, it rotates the entire plunger tube, which has foam to seal it, and then, right, with every rotation, it rotates another barrel in line. Well, that is absolutely fascinating. Looks like the ARs are glued in, so if I wanted to remove the ARs, I would have to drill them out. I am really tempted to find out if this thing is capable of firing both rounds at once. In my usual quest for shotgun pistols, I would love to have one that fires mega. My only complaint, of course, is that the handle is a little bit small, but handles can be added. I could just screw a Nerf handle on the outside, honestly. Alright, so, can it take a K26 is question number 1. So K26 is definitely not going to get enough compression, unfortunately. But this thing has an enormous plunger, I mean, ridiculously big plunger tube for a blaster this size. So much so that you can fit some very large springs into it. Just not K26. I'm gonna start by putting a long strike spring in here. At least that's what I think it is. It might also be a deploy spring. Couldn't tell you just from looking at it. But I think if I try to put both upgraded springs in there, I'm probably going to break something. So we will start with that. So if everything goes well, we now have doubled the spring load and are firing both barrels. I have not taken the ARs out because I don't have a large enough drill bit. Alright, first question, will it prime? Yes, it will. Next question, will it fire both darts at once? Yes, it will. So this is well beyond the purview of this show, but that just makes me happy. It's raining outside, so I can't do proper range tests, but it is hitting at least 30-40 feet flat easily, which is absolutely acceptable to me for a shotgun pistol, so that is magnificent. Alright, well, that was a no for a K26, but yes to a spring upgrade, making it fire both barrels at once, and integrating in a Maverick handle to give it a much better feel. I am very pleased with this. It obviously needs a paint job, which I will almost certainly do, just in black with the orange parts remaining orange because that's the color scheme that I like. But we will look into that later. Now we're going to move on to the next contestant. Our next contestant is the Busbee Boss. The Boss was also released in 2015, is direct plunger, and is more or less the equivalent of the Nerf Magnus, except that the Boss is magazine fed. It came with a 3-round magazine, so it had the same capacity, but since they also make a 12-round magazine, it is has the possibility of being significantly upgraded, which is why I'm going to be building a shotgun out of this one, just like my Magnus shotgun, pretty much right after I'm done filming this episode. Probably get it posted first, and then I will have some fun and build one of those. It's going to be a little bit more difficult, and I don't think it's going to look as good, but it will have the magazine. For all of those who told me that I should make my Magnus shotgun magazine fed, I will have this one instead. It will have opposite colors. But the real question is, can this thing take a K26? Well, it is direct plunger, so there's hope. Well, that's not good. This cap does not, in fact, come off easily, but let's see if we can get to the important part. Anyway, we can. Okay. Well, as with the Magnus, this has a very long spring and a floating plunger head, which are both things that do not bode well for the K26 thing. Okay, so no, it cannot take K26 because the floating plunger head is too small. So I'm just going to put this one together and move on to the next one, and its internal upgrades that I do end up doing to it will get covered in the video I make on its shotgun build. So that's a no. On to the next contestant. Our final contestant in this episode of Can It Take a K26 is, of course, the Tyrant. The Tyrant also came out in 2015, is direct plunger, and came with a 12-round Mega Dart magazine, which is magnificent. It is also big. It's a shame that it's not front pump. It could easily, of course, be made front pump. It'd actually be really easy to make it front pump now that I think about it. But it would be a very long pump, would be the downside because of how much space there is. It would not be a particularly comfortable front pump, I don't feel. But it could be done. I plan to do it to the Boss instead because it's smaller. So, let's see if this thing can take a K26. I seem to recall Brett had one of these open at one of our mod parties, but I don't remember the results. Those fiends. Okay, so a lot of dead space in this gun now that you get it open. It's a shame they have to use this mag release. I assume it's either just really easy for them, or once again, Nerf has the patent on a levered mag release, but whatever their reason. Again, really long spring and a floating plunger tube. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to risk it. I've got two of these. Why not? I am going to try to route out the inside of the plunger head enough to get a K26 into it. Perfect. Okay. Now, get back, dust. Bleh. Now, of course, we just need to figure out exactly how long of a spring we need. Alright, moment of truth. Let's see if it will prime. Holy chrome, it will. And as you can see, it will in fact take a Centurion magazine. Oh, Lord. It seems to be firing on the prime sometimes. We may need a heavier catch spring. As a result, there's now Mega Darts all over my shop. But yes! That's a yes for the Tyrant! Few details to be worked out, but it can take it. It gets enough compression. It catches. Looks like we need a heavier catch spring, perhaps. So that is a yes to the Busbee Tyrant. Let's recap. For those of you keeping track at home, that was a no for the Baron, but yes to a spring upgrade and being able to fire both barrels at once. That was a no to the Boss. Tentatively, it might be possible to bore out the plunger head enough to get K26 in there, but I doubt even that would allow you to have enough compression given how long the spring has to be. Definitely a candidate for a spring upgrade, though. I just don't have one that fits. And finally, that was a yes to the Tyrant, and it hits like a tank. I absolutely am pleased with this particular upgrade. It is misfiring. Sometimes when you slam it forward, it actually is firing, which could be seen as a feature if you wanted it to do that. Slam fire is a wonderful feature, but only when you're expecting it. I think I just need to increase the catch spring even more. The amount of K26 in this thing is more than any other blaster so far, so it is a beastly thing. Very pleased with that. Tempted to put a pump grip on it. Alternatively, to put a bolt, a side bolt, would be another way to get a little bit easier prime than this handle with that much weight. We will see where I go with that. Alright, if you have any comments, concerns, ideas, complaints, just happen to really disagree with my assessment of this line, go ahead and put it in the comments below. And as always, thank you for watching. Congratulations, if you're watching this, you've made it to yet another bonus round. I've recently reached 15,000 subscribers, so it's time to give away another blaster. In this video, I use the exclamation, "Holy Chrome." The first person to contact me via my Etsy page and tell me what movie that quote is from will win the simple pistol mod of their choice. We can negotiate terms. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for telling your friends. Thank you for all of the awesome comments. I get so many great ideas from the comments. Please keep them coming, and I will continue to produce stuff. Thank you.